With the now 63 million COVID-19 cases according to the World Health Organization, founder and CMO Rahul Raj of Five and Vine recently stated that his company is shifting investment from advertising to empathy, philanthropy, community and inspirational content. So just how has the COVID-19 pandemic changed consumer behaviour? I'm Mark Doherty, a Year 1 Executive MBA, and let's get into this topic. So what's happened? Months of quarantine and social distancing have caused us to form, new habits. And these are driven by the new way or the new normal in which we live and work. Ernst & Young's index reports that 42% of consumers will change the way they shop. So why are consumers saying that? Well, a recent McKinsey survey tells us that COVID-19 is changing how consumers behave across all spheres of life. For example, on this slide, let's take work becoming more remote. Bond Capital tells us that the rise in daily Zoom participants has increased 20-fold over the last 6 months. Another example is learning, which has also become more remote. YouGov reported a 35% increase in Netflix subscribers for educational content. Also, shopping and consumption has changed with employment fears and pay cuts. Oxford Economics reports that US personal income levels are not expected to recover until Q2 of 2024. Health and hygiene. There's a big change here for obvious reasons. That said, there is 10 times the increased demand according to the Organic Produce Network since pre-pandemic. These are all new behaviours across every area of our life. But let's dive deeper. A recent JP Morgan analysis of US credit card data shows a 40% decline in spend across all income demographics. Consumers have cut down on things like electronics and travel. However, there's an increase in essentials like medicines and groceries. The same is reflective globally, as this McKinsey survey shows us the increase in essentials, with groceries again being the highlight. Interestingly, the pace of the recovery has slowed in key markets, and optimism about a rapid recovery has decreased about 44% since March. So why am I sharing this? Well, because the post-pandemic enterprise will be characterized not only by changes in behavior driven by the virus, but also changes in behavior driven by the economy. It's very clear that we're in different economic times at the end of this year than we were at the end of last year. So let's talk about the move to online shopping. Groceries was the category where people were spending the least time pre-pandemic. And now we've seen a 30% growth in online grocery shopping, which is no surprise. However, what this page is intending to show is the changing behavior in every category, as they're all highlighted in blue, which just tells us how much digital has been accelerated. In the next slide, high-income earners and millennials are leading the way for essential and non-essential purchasing online. And while Generation X has seen a shift online, Generation Z has concentrated its shift online in particular categories, such as apparel and home entertainment. It's already becoming a cliche how the recovery from COVID will be digital, but it's quite striking to look at the data by category and to see how many years of digital acceleration we've experienced in just such a short space of time since the pandemic. If we move on and we look at changes in loyalty behavior, 3 out of 4 Americans have tried a new shopping behavior and they intend to continue it, according to McKinsey. Across global markets, it's also high at 65%. This is pretty dramatic. On average, that means that people who weren't online are now going to be online. Here's the interesting news. 36% of people have tried a different brand and they're overwhelmingly satisfied. As we can see here, globally, value and convenience appear to be the top drivers for trying a new brand. So there's more disruption in shopping behaviours and in the choices people are making than we've seen for many, many years. And most people say they're pretty happy and intend to continue. So what we're seeing is not just an acceleration of digital, but also a huge amount of new choice being introduced into the markets. Arguably, there's no better time to be a new product or a new brand launching if you can tap into this new consumer moment. Arguably, there's no tougher time than if you're an established brand and you've been supply chain challenged. So what does this mean for personal behaviour? And are these changes permanent or temporary? As illustrated here, the Boston Consultancy Group tells us that there's a temporary normal, such as wearing of masks in public, which will revert back, and there's a new normal, such as online shopping, which will be permanent. But also, there's some things we'll do less of and some things we'll do more of post-pandemic. The second chart by McKinsey is very similar, which shows user growth and how much they intend to use it post-COVID-19. For example, remote learning is up over 100%, but less than half the people say they actually want to stay with remote learning. Telemedicine could be in that category as well. If there are different choices, then it's about whether people want to stay with it or not going forward. In contrast, social media, online streaming, wellness apps, cooking regularly, these are shifts that people say are here to stay and that it's likely to continue beyond COVID. So it's interesting to look at this and the other data I've shared at just how spending is changing, how loyalty is changing, and how habits are changing. So in summary, the lockdown, social distancing, and the economy has generated disruptions in consumer behaviour. Work-life boundaries are blurring, such as work at home. The result is that these behavioural changes will reshape the consumer journey. Companies need to listen and adapt across the following 4 categories. 1, how consumers get information, and this is the shake-up of the media mix, such as digital. 2, where consumers purchase, such as at-home alternatives to the gym. 3, what consumers purchase. This is the shake-up of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, such as consumers shifting towards essentials like groceries. And 4, how consumers experience. This is the shake-up of values, such as a move to brands that are local or brands that focus on sustainability. Finally, if we turn to the wise words of Plutarch, the Greek philosopher, where he says, "Know how to listen and you will profit." Wise words from 2,000 years ago, but very relevant today, where companies now more than ever need to listen to consumers, adapt quickly, or risk being left behind. Thank you.